Hello and welcome to all the 1984 fans out there. I am back with another exit interview. Tonight we have a very special guest. He is one of the people I've known for quite a while in the org community, and he is the 12th placer, the final pre-juror on 1984, season 17, Ready or Not. Edward, how are you doing tonight on this fine evening?
Well, I guess I am the or not, because I wasn't fucking ready for this shit.
So, one of the, obviously I've known you for a long time. You've played dozens of orgs. But typically you play survivor games. So tell me about how this game was different for you stepping into the world of Big Brother.
So I think the fact that I was unable to find my people in this game, I think that really was my big setback. Survivor games, you're usually on a tribe. You only have to think about like usually 8 people. So you're like, okay, I could find somebody to link up with. But this game was what, 18 people? So 17 people, and I still couldn't find my fucking person. So I think it was just a case of there was nobody I could link up with. So, like, as I said, in Survivor games, I usually find at least one person. This game found nobody.
Someone that has been that person, I do feel like there were some moments watching your game where I was like, I felt kind of bad because I looked at things and, you're trying to be honest with people, but Big Brother's not a game that honesty necessarily benefits because when it comes down to voting, sometimes people like to be a bit more vague. And I think at some points maybe that caught you into trouble. So tell me about how you think the round, like what do you think led to you getting here now?
I think people had Maddie's back. Why? I don't know. People paired us together. Again, no one ever asked me. Like, that was part of my strategy. My part of my strategy was to be honest to people because of the fact you think I'm honest all the time. Well, guess what? It's easier for me to lie because you think I'm telling you the truth. But like no one ever asked me like, "Oh, how close are you and Maddie?" I listen, you guys, just because Maddie had my back doesn't necessarily mean I had hers. And people just assume these things. And I'm like, I don't know because I still don't feel anything. So the first group I had was with Maddie and Mike. I'm like, I don't think this is beneficial for me, but maybe it is, maybe it isn't. The only time I really felt good with the group was when I eventually got put in that group with Jess and Ricky, and then Ricky had his mindset not pissing people off and going with an easy nominee and somebody who would not be mad about it, and it wound up costing him an ally. And let's see if that works out for him.
Do you think for everyone that voted, it was a good move for them to evict you or a bad move for them to evict you?
Um, I think it was a case of people wanting to vote with the House. I think there are people who wanted to keep me, and I think I wouldn't hold it against them because of the fact that I feel like I did that with the Aaron round. Like I wanted Aaron to stay. I nothing against Rachel, but Aaron would have been way more beneficial to me than Rachel. And I said, fuck it. Everyone else is doing it. Might as well jump on board and not be the odd man out. So I get it.
And another thing I want to ask you, because it was right around this time, obviously we had the triple quit, I guess you could say. How do you think that impacted your game?
Um, I think the biggest impact is the vote not going through. I think a lot of people put in effort and time to set up that vote, whichever way it would have gone. I still don't know how it would have gone. My gut says Fredo would have gone and Antoinette would have stayed, but I don't know that for sure. But I think had that round gone through, I think the house would have been more shaken up. And I think things would have gotten a lot more interesting and not stayed the status quo. Because I think if it was like I don't know how many people would have been at that time, 5-4 vote, something like that. I think that would have been interesting versus like these lopsided votes that have been happening throughout the whole game.
So, do you feel like do you have any like regrets about this game in particular that you feel like hindered you?
Um, my biggest regret is not saying no. I think me being in Vegas right when the game started like fucked shit up. And I know that you have to be there from the beginning to connect with people. And I think me, I was available. I just was not available as much as I would like. Like that first night, I was that night one of WrestleMania? I think that was night one of WrestleMania. So I was like not paying attention to that rules call at all. I just happened to be there because of the fact that I said, you know what? Let me at least show up, show my face. I was not paying attention at all. So like I never really felt present in this game. And when I was able to get home, I felt like I was so far behind the eight ball. I connected with nobody. I was like, this is not the season for me. Let's try and do as good as we can, but I don't think this is gonna go well at all.
Of course. I think having to start, and especially when you're busy and you had plans, which I mean, obviously you spent hundreds of dollars just being there, so I don't think anyone can fault you necessarily for that. Um, but obviously you end up going on the block from what I remember as a pawn. And sometimes in Big Brother, you know what they say, pawns go home. So walk me through your conversations with Ricky and what exactly happened there.
So me, Ricky, and Jess were on a call. Um, Ricky asked us what we thought he should do. I suggested S because of the fact I knew for live night I wasn't going to be there and I want to save myself. So if S goes home, I'm immune. Fantastic. If Maddie goes home, great. But Ricky was such in a mindset where he didn't want to get anybody else angry. He knew he already pissed off Michael and Maddie. He wanted the least damage on his hands, and he felt like, oh, these people won't be dumb enough to evict you because of the fact, one, if you go home, I get immunity now. And Maddie is such a big target. Why would they not want to get rid of her? Which, again, valid. But, like, I think Maddie had more to offer them versus what I had to offer them. Which, again, totally get that. But I think people looked at that more short-sighted than long-sighted. And again, we'll see who that pays off for. Ain't me.
This is a fun question just based on what I know about you. If you had to compare your game to a Pokemon, what would it be?
Oh my God. Probably like Snorlax because I was sleeping on the job. I feel like, again, so far behind. I think I was screwed this whole time. Again, if I could have found one person that I could have linked up with, and at points I thought maybe that was Michael, but I was like, I feel like he's doing too much shit with too many people. So I was like, that probably isn't my person. So let me keep looking. Brandon from the jump liked him. Then I heard all these things about him throwing me under the bus. We've talked about it on the pre-jury chat, but yeah, not good. Couldn't find somebody, needed somebody, sleeping on the job. Sucks.
It's unfortunate. Um, Now another this question is more so about your time in the game. Do you have one moment that you'll remember the most, or one proudest moment, or just iconic, or just one funny thing that happened that you'll look back at this season 1984 and think about?
Um, Honestly, I would say my exit pitch at the eviction because I was like, it ain't gonna work, but let me just throw everything out there. Maybe people will flip. It got nothing, but I said everything I need to say. I told the people like I'm not expecting to be friends with any of you after this because of the fact I don't think any of us connected. I enjoyed the game. I didn't enjoy the people. And I normally, as I said, find somebody to enjoy. And this cast, again, for me, just was not it. And it sucks.
Unfortunately, sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. My next question was actually going to be, do you think you would keep in touch with anyone after this game is over? But I feel like you just answered that for me.
Um, the only person, honestly, potentially, actually, there's probably two people. Aaron would be one, and the other one would probably be Antoinette, but that's more because of the Molly factor than anything. But yeah, those would probably be the only two people.
Okay. And so moving on to a little bit more of your prediction aspect, who do you think is going to win this game?
Um, the better question is, do I care who wins this game? Um, I think this is more of who I would want to win at this point, and that would probably be either Jess or Antoinette, because I felt like if people were going to go to bat for me to save me, those would have probably been the two people. So Antoinette or Jess.
And then I guess where do you think who do you think's gonna probably get second place at this point?
Ugh.
You're used to getting losing Final Travel Council, so
Yeah,
I feel like
yes. I've done that quite a bit. See, that's the thing. Like, everyone was leaking everything. So, like, if there were true alliances and true groups, I don't know what they were, who they were. But I could see like a Ricky or a Zach or like a Fredo getting second place.
okay. So as we wrap things up here, I know you're very honest with how you answer these questions, so I really like that because there's been some interviews that definitely go a little longer, but on behalf of production, everyone here, I'm glad that I finally got to convince you to play. I know it was kind of bad timing the week we picked to start, and it was definitely a roller coaster with everything happening. Obviously, the quits and whatnot definitely may have impacted your game. So for that, I apologize. But as we move into the final part of this interview, we are going to play the shady or not shady game. This is basically just a word association game where you just say the first word that comes into your head when I name the house guest.
Oh my
And you
God.
can explain if you want, you don't have to, but just gonna go down
Okay.
the list here. We're gonna start with Shaw.
Um, Young,
Okay, Rachel,
divorced dad music.
Michael.
Um, Batty Chain.
Okay. S.
Um, Calculated.
Okay, Antoinette.
I hate to say it, but I'll say it. Molly.
I don't think that's a noun. No, just kidding. Um, Zach,
Boring.
Ricky,
Overthinker.
Maddie,
Chaotic.
Jess.
Intelligent.
Okay. Fredo.
Um, I think of a good word. Uh, oh my God, what's a good word for Fredo? I'll just, I'll just go with uh, um, self-assured.
And finally, Dash.
Um, well-rounded.
Okay. Interesting answers. Interesting answers. Um, well, thank you for that. And obviously, as you know, in just a few weeks, maybe a week or two, we'll be having the finale and there'll be awards, reunion, we'll find out who wins. So I do hope to see you there and I look forward to doing that. And I just want to say on behalf of production, the alumni, your other house guests, myself, all the viewers, thank you so much for playing, Edward. Um, I wish things could have turned out differently. You know, I'm probably one of your biggest fans, so I'm sorry for that. But, before I let you go, I have one final question. Say, you're sitting down at the blackjack table, say you're eating your lunch break, or maybe say you just woke up from your nap and, you get a text. Say it's from Zach, Michael, me, and I'm like, hey, how would you feel about returning to 1984? What would you say?
I think it would 100% have to be a good time timing wise. I think again, starting behind the eight ball when the game started sucked. But I think I can very much differentiate the game from the people who I was in the game with. Like, I loved all the challenges that you guys did. I loved that I actually did decently in them. I wasn't a total disaster. Um, I talked about this with the guys like after I got voted out. I'm like, my only thing, and I get their perspective, is I am more of the type of person who needs like to bounce back conversation with production. I get what Zach says, where like sometimes you overthink these things when people say things to you, but I like getting these questions asked. Like I say something and then like I'm talking to ether, whereas I'm not like getting anything back. Like, oh, why do you think this? Or oh, whatever.
Right.
So that's the only drawback I have. But otherwise, like I would 100% play this game again. I'd probably prefer to play surviving, but that's besides the point.
Who said that? Who said that? Well, you never know what we have in store, so. But no, Edward, once again, thank you so much for doing this interview with me.
No problem, Nolan.
From 1984, this is Nolano Soprano and Edward signing out.